If you're lost and alone, or you're sinking like a stone, carry on. May your path be the sound of your feet upon the ground. Carry on. Carry on, carry on.
Good morning, and welcome to our show, Let's Talk About It, a program about any and all aspects of mental health and wellness, including the tough stuff. You're listening at 95.3 WCHE and on the stream at 953wche.com. My co-hosts and I are public health educators, and we work with people in Chester County every day, hearing their stories, teaching about mental health, trauma, and suicide prevention. We know these topics aren't always easy to talk about, but through our conversations here, we hope to change that. This program is supported by Chester County's Departments of Health and Mental Health to inform and educate residents. It is not intended to be mental health advice or treatment. Good morning, everyone. I am Chelsea Kunkel. I am the coordinator of the Chester County ACEs, or Adverse Childhood Experiences Coalition, and I'm also a contracted trauma specialist with the Chester County Health Department. And I am here in studio today with two incredible guests. I'm really excited about our show today. Today's episode is dedicated to Juneteenth, a holiday that honors Black freedom, resilience, and the ongoing fight for justice. Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day, commemorates June 19th, 1865, when enslaved African Americans in Galveston, Texas, finally learned of their freedom, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. In 2021, it became a federal holiday, symbolizing both celebration and reflection. In the spirit of Juneteenth, we're focusing on local efforts to confront racial disparities and foster healing and resilience. And that's why we have two incredible guests on our show who are leaders from the Black Women of Chester County in Action, an organization working tirelessly to uplift voices, mobilize communities, and address systemic inequities. Joining us today are Cierra Walker and Sam Collins. Welcome.
Hi, Chelsea. Thank you for having me back.
Yes, this is your second time on the show, Cierra.
Thank you. And I'm super excited to be here with Sam today to talk about BWCCA.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam, for being here.
Of course, Chelsea. Thank you for having us. We're excited.
Yeah, first time on the show. You both are you're on the board of directors for BWCCA. So again, welcome to the show. I'm excited for this conversation, excited to have you here to talk a little bit more about what BWCCA does, or the Black Women of Chester County in Action. I'm going to get this right. I'm going to get that title right. So to just kind of start talking about, this topic, can you just tell our listeners a little bit more about the mission of Black Women of Chester County in Action and how maybe it was founded?
Absolutely. So BWCCA's mission is to positively impact the well-being and health of Black women and girls in Chester County. And we're doing this through education, advocacy, and leadership. So BWCCA was founded in 2016 when the Fund for Women and Girls invited about 30 Black leaders in Chester County to come together and to share a little bit about their blueprint report and the disparity seen that affects specifically Black women in Chester County. Mm-hmm. So this report in 2016, it found that Black women in Chester County are suffering from heart disease, lung cancer, and diabetes at higher rates. So these disparities specifically affecting Black women empowered this group of women to continue working together to share insights and also to implement initiatives to improve the well-being of Black women and girls in Chester County.
Wow. And when did you say it was founded then? Like how long?
2016.
2016. So you've been doing this work for almost 10 years.
Yes.
Which is pretty incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Almost 10 years.
That's amazing. And such important work, like you said, that's being done. You know, when we look at some of those health disparities, you know, that's really scary for Black women here in Chester County, that they're at a higher risk, right, for developing some of these, you know, very serious health consequences.
And what's been really lovely is that developed over the years is that Black Women of Chester County in Action have started creating specific initiatives so that we can address these individually, so that we're actively speaking to not only the disparity, but being more specific about what those are and targeting them directly. We've gathered a really wonderful bunch of humans to make this happen.
That's amazing.
And I do just want to briefly just shout out to Cheryl Miles, who has been really great at getting everyone together, and she is the founder of BWCCA.
And I feel like we'll probably mention her at least 20 times.
I don't blame you. I feel like there's so many of us here in Chester County who are aware of Cheryl Miles and everything that she does for the community, because she is so incredible and does many, many things within the community, and this is just one of them, So, so great. Well, I'm interested. I'm curious, what personally inspired you to get involved in the Black Women of Chester County in Action?
Absolutely. So the short answer to that is just being a Black female gendered person in general.
Mm-hmm.
When we navigate the world, there's always some sort of barrier, or there's always just a way that we need to show up a little bit differently. So being a person in community and in my professional sense, I've always just, it's just in the forefront of your mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are Black folks? What services are they giving? Where is my community?
Right.
So that's always been something that is important for us to do, because that's just what you do. But I got introduced to Black Women of Chester County in Action, surprise, surprise, by Cheryl Miles. And it kind of happened where last year I went to one of their racial trauma and resiliency retreats, which was this beautiful retreat where we had these experts from the Black community come and speak about different effects of racial trauma throughout Black history in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I found the retreat incredibly fulfilling. I found it really healing, and I had brought up a few suggestions in terms of inclusivity when we had these conversations, especially around queer folks. And when I voice these opinions, a lot of times when I voice opinions in community about queer folks' inclusion, I feel there's this brush up, right? There's this discomfort, oh my gosh, what kind of conversation did I just start? And I feel really vulnerable. This was probably the best experience I've ever had bringing this up. They were curious, they were welcoming, and they were completely open to hearing what I had to say, and it just enveloped me in just love and care. And that is one of my favorite things about the Black community, is just this genuine desire to always include each other.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I had made these, comments and suggestions, and they said, well, do you want to join our committee? And then it became, do you want to join our board? And now I'm here.
Here you are.
I'm just excited and honored that they shared space for me and asked, how can we do more? And that was important to me. So
incredible.
Yeah.
I definitely would say that for me personally, getting involved in this work, initially, I would say it would be my public health experience
mm-hmm.
and serving underserved communities and seeing that there's still so many barriers that still exist today. And I think what has kept me here, just to honestly just piggyback off of what Cierra said, is really the sense of community.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Black women, we need that community where we can feel heard and seen, and Black Women of Chester County in Action really does that.
That's
great.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, we're all really in need of that community. And when you find your people who make you feel safe and connected and accepted, that makes a huge difference.
Huge difference, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And coming from the angle of not just educating, but like Sam said, fostering that community
Mm-hmm.
is I think so much bigger than just the education piece.
And I think it's really evidenced in a lot of the work that you do. So you had already kind of mentioned, Cierra, that there is a racial trauma and resiliency kind of action team that you all have put together at BWCCA. And so I'm interested in hearing a little bit more about that action team, but also some of the other action teams that you have available too, and what you guys are really doing for the community.
Absolutely. So our Racial Trauma and Resiliency Committee, what we do is we provide education through historical context about what Black folks have experienced from everything from the transatlantic slave trade down to history now. And we take the historical context and we talk about what collective racial trauma means. So that what we do is we bring that education to light, because when we are taught history in the United States, it has a lot of holes in it. It can be very whitewashed. So we talk about Black history, so that this kind of tiredness that we feel in our bones, and this knowing that we have more context than what is typically given, is out in the light. And so we talk about what our ancestors have gone through. And then on the other end, the resiliency piece of that is we talk about collective healing. So what does that look like? So it's everything from information about mental health, what kind of symptoms that we might experience, how that looks in behaviors. But then on the flip side, and again, this is speaking to the community aspect, how do we heal together?
Yeah.
So the resiliency retreat had everything from like journal prompts to us doing a little bit of dancing sort of therapy and exercises together, and kind of taking moments to just like really sit with each other. And it's not something that we often get, particularly in a lot of areas where there aren't a large Black population. So just to see a room full of Black women and to be together and to talk about these things, there's just this weight that's lifted off. So that's kind of what our resiliency committee does. This year we've taken a different approach. We are now focusing on the community healing lens, and we're doing it in a way of how to heal from everyday and consistent traumas, and sometimes chronic ones, in really simple ways. And how do we make it inexpensive? And how do we just make it so it's part of our daily life?
Yeah, and available to this community where they need it, right?
Yeah, not a one-time only thing. And then not only do we learn these simple tools like mindfulness or walking, meditation, but we also are doing it together, and we are doing it in a way that, you know, people can make these connections with each other.
It's incredible. I love hearing about the Racial Trauma and Resiliency Committee that you have. And Sam, I know that there are some other committees too.
Yes, there are. So we have our hashtag, or Voices Should Be Heard committee as well under BWCCA. And this committee really focuses on engaging the Black community in civic engagement and the political process as well. Historically, Black communities are not really involved in voting, and it's important that we really educate the community about their rights and, you know, how you can be informed about your decisions. We also have our Birth and Equity Collective, and this was founded within the last year under BWCCA. There's a lot of great work that's being done, and we are focusing really on advocacy and being a resource hub for Black families that are in the birthing space or postpartum as well. So, yeah, we're excited. We have some events that are coming up really about community education in the next few months. So please look out for, you know, any events that we have coming.
I love it. I love everything that you have to offer, and I think it's so incredible just hearing both of you speak about BWCCA, and it's really evident that everything is done so strategically, right? Like, you all are looking at the community and saying, like, where are some of these disparities? Where are the needs? What can we address? And you are doing it so beautifully. And so kudos to you. I love it.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Well, it's hard to believe, but we're coming up on our commercial break. You're listening to Let's Talk About It with Chelsea and our guests, Cierra and Sam, on 95.3 WCHE. Stay with us and we'll be right back.
If you're lost and alone, or you're sinking like a stone, carry on. May your path be the sound of your feet upon the ground. Carry on. Carry on, carry on.
Welcome back. This is Let's Talk About It, a show about any and all aspects of mental health and wellness, including the tough stuff. And I'm joined in studio today with Cierra Walker and Sam Collins. Both are on the board of directors of the Black Women of Chester County in Action. And prior to the break, we talked a little bit about everything that you offer at BWCCA, your mission, how you two personally got involved in BWCCA, as well as some of the amazing work that you're doing with your action teams, all throughout the county, and everything that you're offering, which is truly incredible. But I had mentioned at the beginning of the show that Juneteenth is like right around the corner, right? And I want to talk a little bit more about the ways that we can honor Juneteenth throughout the year and not just on June 19th. So in what ways can listeners honor Juneteenth, again, not just on that day, but maybe throughout the year?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good question. So when we honor something, honor is an action word. Mm-hmm. It's something that we commit to doing. Like you said, it's not just one day out of the year. And when we honor something, it's not done in isolation, it's communal. So when we talk about honoring Black folks and their history, it's in the way that we vote, it's in the way that which organizations and community events you support, where you shop, who you invite to your events, learning Black history, inclusive teaching and healing modalities, challenging sort of these whitewashed historical pieces that we've been given over the years, and engaging in our own anti-racism work.
And those are all such great points. Again, not just saying we're going to honor this on June 19th, but we can incorporate all of those suggestions that you just said throughout the year. Mm-hmm. And I also think it's important that this isn't just inclusive to the Black community, right? Like other people can be allies in this work as well, in other communities. And so we all have, I think, a part to play in this, and we can all be honoring Juneteenth. Right.
It's about keeping that message alive, not just one day, but incorporating it really in how we move in society, and honestly where our society does move from here.
Yeah. And it's I feel like it's needed now more than ever, yes. Right?
That's the nicest way I could put that.
Yes. So I understand, Cierra, you actually have an event coming up tonight.
Yes.
That you might want to talk a little bit about, and you already kind of have mentioned it when we talked a little bit about the Racial Trauma and Resiliency Committee and all the work that you're doing. But specifically, you have an event tonight, and so I want to give you an opportunity to chat.
I'm very excited. So this evening, part of our Racial Trauma and Resiliency initiative for this year, we're doing what's called a Work It Out series. And it's, like I described before, taking these simple community actions together and apply them to racial healing and just trauma healing and healing in community in general. So tonight at the Iron Eagle from 6 to 8 p.m., we are having what's called Drop the Mic, and it is a storytelling event. So when you think of storytelling, we can think of music or bringing poetry to share or spoken word, maybe even a short story that you have. But what we wanted to do is that during Juneteenth, we really want to honor the way that our ancestors moved, and what is the most prevalent way that folks talked about collective experience was through storytelling. So we've decided to hold this open, Drop the Mic, which is open mic night. It's open to everyone. There's no registration required, so bring your poems, bring your songs, or if you just want to come and be with us and listen, you're more than welcome to do that too. So very excited about this.
So Iron Eagle is in Coatesville. So just wanted to mention that. And your Work It Out series has really been incredible. So some of the other events that you've hosted through this series have been dancing, right, and walking. And I know that you have some ideas for some, this has been like a monthly series for you. So you have some other ideas for upcoming.
We do. So next month, actually, we're doing our Walk It Out, which is something we did at the Coatesville Health Fair back in April or March, I believe. And what we're doing is it's an hour-long walk. We're going to have some mindfulness tactics. We are making sure that this walk is accessible to everyone, so you don't have to push. You do what you can, and we do some exercises in the middle of it in terms of how we connect our mind and body, because that is one of the most important aspects of healing, is the mind-body-spirit connection. So that is something we talk as well. So that is Saturday, July 26th, and that is 10 a.m. through 11 a.m. Unfortunately, there's no rain date, and that's at the Chesco Public Safety Training Campus in South Coatesville.
Awesome.
And you can find that information on our Instagram as well, and some of our other social media platforms.
Incredible. Thank you. And I just want to say, when we talk about any sort of trauma, but especially like this racial trauma piece, we have to think about kind of those like intergenerational cycles of trauma and historical trauma and what that means for not only generations before us, but generations to come too. And so this healing piece is so important. And the fact that you are being so intentional about creating this like mind, body, spirit connection, moving your body. We know that like trauma is stored in our bodies. So the fact that you are like really being intentional about this movement piece, I really love. But I do also love the storytelling as well, because like you said, this is kind of like how our ancestors, would be telling stories and talking to us about their experiences as well. And so again, I love the intentionality that you're putting behind all of these events that you're hosting. So you mentioned a little bit about social media and finding more out about you. I just want to make sure that, if any of our listeners are tuning in right now and they're thinking like, man, I really would love to join this initiative, figure out how I can be more involved, maybe donate, which is really important, right? Like, you need some money to be able to support the work that you're doing in the county. So how can folks learn more about BWCCA and everything that you're doing or getting involved?
Yeah, Chelsea, thank you so much for asking. I would say that we are definitely on our social media platforms. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook to follow our upcoming events that are occurring. Also, if you're looking to donate, we do have a donate tab on our website, which is bwcca.org. That's where you can also find a little bit more information about our action teams, a little bit more about how we got started, and some of the details on membership as well.
Awesome. I just know there's so many folks out there that I think could really benefit from everything that you all are offering in the community. And like you said, some of these events, open to everyone. So come, enjoy, and spend some time in community together. And again, we've been really focusing on Juneteenth, and I understand that there are many events going on in Chester County, in our county. And I think we should mention some of them, right? Because there's a lot going on.
It's great to see.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially there's a whole actual website dedicated. I think it's culturechesco.org, which actually lists out all of the different events that are happening. So even if you don't remember what we say, you can always go online and check them out. They've done a great job consolidating where everything is.
That's so helpful too, because some of these can maybe get a little bit lost, or maybe you have difficulty finding. So recognizing that there is one website that you can go and check out who is doing what, right, in the county. We know that there's, an event in Coatesville, event in Kennett Square. They have one specifically in Phoenixville, in Westchester. Well, they have two events in Westchester coming up on the 15th and the 19th. So there are lots of opportunities for folks to get involved. I know you're going to be tabling an event at Kennett Square, right? At the Juneteenth event at Kennett Square.
Correct. We will be at the Juneteenth Jubilee on Juneteenth in Kennett Square. So that's going to be June 19th, and that's going to be held, I believe it's 6 to 9 p.m. So we will be there, have a table. We will also have a fun activity. So look out for us there.
Awesome. Well, you guys are so great. This has been such an amazing show. I'm so happy that we've been able to kind of chat about all of these, really needed topics here in Chester County. We need to be talking more about racial inequity and disparities and, what that means for our county. And I think it's so important, the work that you're doing. So thank you both for continuing to do that work, offering it in the county. And again, just to plug your website maybe so that folks can visit and learn more about BWCCA.
Absolutely. So our website is bwcca.org.
Check it out. They have lots of stuff going on in the community. Well, we're at the end of our show. It's kind of crazy to think about already, right?
Absolutely.
Went by fast,
it
but...
does. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes,
thank you for being
providing
here.
this space for us and making sure this is something that is at the forefront that we're able to talk about. So grateful.
Absolutely.
To you. Thank you.
And we're really excited. I think, we want to continue to have this be a platform to be talking, again, about all of, the tough stuff that folks may feel slightly uncomfortable with talking about, but it's really important that we talk about it. I'm really excited. In a few weeks, we have Sharon Harden, who will be interviewing on the show, and she's going to be talking a little bit about how NAMI of Chester County has created a Black and African American mental health resource guide. So she's going to be talking a little bit about that.
Wow, that's exciting.
Such a great resource.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, thank you, Sam and Cierra, for being here. Such an important topic, and lovely to have you in the studio today. As always, thank you to our producer, Eric, and thank you all for tuning in to Let's Talk About It. Join us again next week at 11:30 a.m. on 95.3 WCHE.
If you're lost and alone, or you're sinking like a stone, carry on. May your past be the sound of your feet upon the